While Bitcoin has yet to put in a top on this cycle, we'll be bringing back the matrix today to discuss where the bottom of the next cycle might indeed be. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Wish you a happy and healthy start to your Saturday. Yeah, Saturday morning. Have a nice Saturday morning in your life. We got plenty to discuss today, mostly to do with the higher term time frame closures that were happening on Friday. That would be yesterday, and preparations for this next week to come. Obviously, following up on the opening statement, a little bit of clickbait bullshit right there. Actually, do want to bring back something that I've been kind of ignoring for a while, mostly because, well, you'll see why. You'll see why. Anyways, with that said, let's get into it right now. Wasting no more time. I do want to make this video a concerted effort to be a little bit on the shorter side, if I can do that. And so with that said, I'd like to wish you the best and the happiest in a more sincere tone. Anyways, on to the Krown Chain application, which by the way can be found at app.krownchain.net. It is 100% free, so claim your account, sir. You are more than welcome to, or sirette, or whatever fucking gender pronoun that you prefer. And we see plenty of things going on right now. Fear and greed index still stuck at a 92, as you would imagine, when Bitcoin is basically flirting with new all-time highs. In fact, maybe even making new all-time highs, depending upon what you're sort of measuring it upon. And on top of that, we do see that Bitcoin dominance heading down once again to about 60% region. So we do see a bit of a change in behavior here from what we saw in last week, with once again Ethereum actually leading the charge, making new all-time highs, whereas Bitcoin still kind of consolidating and having that slow stair-stepping move to the upside, of which we typically do see. So with that in mind, as long as we see that sort of relationship, we can expect that Bitcoin dominance continue to come down, and altcoins have a little bit more of an altcoin rally. However, with Bitcoin still kind of flirting around with a major breakout here, and Ethereum getting closer and closer to that next like major target, I would be looking for that to kind of shift back into Bitcoin around that. But again, that's still a little bit further away right now. What else do we see? We see open interest on Bitcoin still right below 8 billion, which is just fucking massive. To put that in perspective, this is certainly the highest we've ever seen it since we started recording data, and it's certainly, I would imagine, just the highest that it's ever been, ever. And this is more importantly to be combined with price action right here, which we do see open interest going up, price action going up, volume and volatility also going up as well. And what does that suggest? Suggests that this price action is very much supported by real positions, and that means that I still remain bullish. We're going to be looking at, of course, some actual technical indicators as well that support that idea too. So of course, as always, confluence is good, and confluence is what typically does make up good analysis and well, good efficacious trading. So moving on, what else do we see? Actually, we see that I'm hungry as fuck this morning. Actually, that's what's really going on. This is rather interesting over here. Bitcoin price, perpetual versus future, is actually starting to get away from each other once again, suggesting that the market is, well, more or less bullish and more or less pricing in these next upside moves. Not necessarily actionable in and of itself just yet, but something to keep an eye on, as the differential between these gains more and more, it would call into short term, very likely a bit of a pullback to kind of bring those back into parity, as you don't want to see it get too far ahead of each other. Although naturally it will in these long-term uptrends, but you want to see it kind of like steadily go, essentially. On top of that, the funding rate per exchange is still above those thresholds. So I do think that this weekend is a little bit scary here, as I would usually back away from making like short-term time frame analyses on the weekend, mostly because, you know, it's kind of floaty and flighty. And in this case right here, it kind of does make some sense with price action. Overall, things are more or less bullish. I'll spoil the surprise right there. However, on the weekends, we typically do see counter trend moves, and that usually is a good time to be a little bit of a dombola party, contrary to the week's direction, and in this case very likely does lead to reaccumulation, as we're going to discuss soon enough. So with that in mind, this is a bit problematic now. We have seen this for about 2 days straight. Tomorrow would be a very concerning factor if it still remains there, but what I essentially want to see today is I want to see this kind of back off a little bit. Probably Bitcoin plays back down to the bottom side of its short-term range. This comes back into parity, and Bitcoin continues to party onwards and forwards here. But specific interest on Ethereum right now. So with that in mind, I'm actually not signing my account. I need to do that. God damn it, man. I'm like in the process of transferring all my life over into this computer right here. So I'll have that ready for tomorrow, so that we can actually go over some of the alerts and whatnot that I really want to set up over here. But for now, I think it's rather self-explanatory, and I do have a video on it as a channel video here. So if you do need instructions on that, definitely go check that out. Anyways, into the charts we go. And of course, the biggest thing that happened yesterday was CME closure for the weekly, which is going to very likely, lead into spot price action for Bitcoin as well. And what do we see? We see something very, 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 very powerful right here. Closing above the topside shoulder band. Once again, this to me says, hey, we are in trending motion, and very, very likely within this next week of price action, starting Monday, or I guess when CME is open late on Sunday, that would be, I'm going to be asleep, so it's going to be Monday for me. So it doesn't matter, but more importantly, it would imply that, yes, Bitcoin still looking for new all-time highs right here. And this actually being a bit of a fresh breakout, as you can see, volume plus trending above the topside shoulder bands, plus that open interest read. That's good enough for me to look for new all-time highs into those same sort of targets that we've been having for a while. $51,000 would be the next sort of, medium-term target, I suppose. Probably does play out a short-term pullback from that region, and then ultimately I would be looking for Bitcoin to take a stab into the around $60,000. Again, spoiling the surprise right here, but like I said, I do want to make this video a little bit shorter. What I want to see on Sunday when we get the next open for CME weekly is I want to see ADX continuing to maintain its positive slope, as well as DMI plus. If that's met, I mean, it's kind of more or less formality right now, but that's what you would expect to see on the next tick. And then also MACD histogram increasing here as well. I mean, this is very, 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 very likely to continue on to the upside here. I'll put it that way. I don't want to say anything more deliberately clear than that, because this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a financial derper, and I'm a perderptionist, whatever the fuck that means. I perderpted it. I perderpted my fucking dick. Anyways, looking at the daily as well, I just want to see what this one closed at. Yeah, very, very strong closure right there. Technically did not close above the topside trailing band, but I do like this nonetheless. Very, very obviously a cup and handle continuation formation right here. Just reaccumulated, and off and up we go. I believe there is a measure move to be made off this one. In this case, it's actually going to be a lot higher than what we had postulated firstly, mostly because our handle is really fucking up there. And what would that be suggesting? That'd be suggesting actually into the $6,000 territory, which I imagine on spot's probably going to be around that $62,000 target, which we should probably just line up right now. This would be the more, what's the word that I'm looking for? Conservative estimate on that. If we actually take it from the handle that we have right here, it would be suggesting actually, into the upper $50,000 region, somewhere around the 618 to the 414, which is rather common. I do typically see that in more aggressive markets, we will wick up to the 3-spot extension right here. So that's why I have been kind of postulating a range between about 62,000 and 58,000 between the 618 and the 3 spot. But ultimately, I'd be looking for CME to kind of set the tone on this one. It's just more of an obvious chart right now, and looking pretty damn good as Bitcoin does continue onwards and upwards. Looking at momentum oscillators on spot price action, I mean, is there anything really new here? This is still a bit concerning on the DMI plus. I want to see the DMI plus really get a positive slope here. I imagine probably not going to happen over the weekend. If the weekend does want to pull back, this would be a great time for it. Reset a few of those oscillators and then set it up for a nice Sunday or Monday perhaps. But in this case right here, I'd keep an eye on it. That would be the next sort of thing that would be, well, suggesting that Bitcoin does take that next leg up. And like I said, about next target would be the 2-spot extension right here. That's your 51,500-ish region, and then continuation implied after a bit of a short-term, medium-term pullback, we could say. We didn't close a 2-day yesterday night. Yeah, we did not. We closed it tonight, actually. Same sort of potential present here as well. Closing above the topside shoulder band, just generally good. Topside shoulder band, good for the blue laws. 3 days not closing tonight. It's going to be closing tomorrow alongside the weekly. So I'll wait off on that. And the 3-day, actually pretty damn good posturing here as well. Anyways, let's actually take a quick look at Mr. Beaterall, or Ethereum for the layman's out there. And let's see what we got over here. 1840-ish region. Once again, testing the topside trailing band on the 3-day. But what's the daily closing at? Daily still looks very, very good here. Very, 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 very powerful. And would I still stick with my $2,000 plus target? Yeah, I would. Do I think that it actually even stops at $2,000? Probably not, except for a nice psychological resistance sell-off as people take profits at that nice round even number. But ultimately, it's a 22 to 2400-ish region that I'd really be looking towards right in this pocket right here. That's essentially where I'm looking towards on this one. This, again, very, 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 very powerful. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I've spoken about this too many times already, and I don't want to bore the shit out of you. But most importantly, I mean, Ethereum is like relatively new in price discovery right here. You can see a very similar signature of what you even saw on Bitcoin when Bitcoin was consolidating below its prior $20,000 all-time high right here. So that would be looking like 1, 2, 3 weeks of consolidation, kind of steps on its way up on those rising wick actions, and then fourth week just girthy green dildo party. And you you saw pretty much the same thing happen on Bitcoin right here. Here's a $20,000 high, 1, 2, 3 weeks of sideways, then boom, girthy green dildo party to the skies. And for about 2.5x thus far, going back to Ethereum, it should be noted that it's nowhere near 2.5x on that read. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're going to be 1-to-1 in this, but just to kind of put some what's it called? Some relation on this, some reference on this. Yeah. If we were to 2x this or 2.5x this, where would that put us at? Well, that'd put us at, I don't know, somewhere right around here. So that'd be, I won't say it. If you're to make an equivalency with Bitcoin. Now, technically speaking, or theoretically speaking, I should say, altcoins will be more volatile. And with that in mind, it would be relevant to say that, usually they do get more on those moves. So I'll just kind of postulate that right now, but that's actually not the most important or the most interesting things that I really want to be talking about here. I don't want to spend too much time on Ethereum, but Ethereum is good and looks like it is leading. Wait, hey, fuck, god damn it. Don't show that just yet. All right, so we'll go through the lower term timeframes briefly here. Like I said, I really don't trust lower term timeframes over the weekend. I'd still be going off of the medium term range as a whole between about 48,100-ish region on a 4-hour closure, and low side is going to be about 44,300 on a 4-hour closure as well. Anything between there, I don't really have any major changes in biases, whether being bullish or bearish within this region. I mean, the prior bias is bullish, so obviously that's not going to change as long as we also are within this region. But because it is a weekend and because things, could have a chance here to, base off the open interest a little bit concerning right there. If it does want to pull back, I'd be looking at a target somewhere around about 45,500-ish region. Yes, indeed, that would be a nice little higher low right there as well. And you still got that nice stair-stepping formation. The only way that I even turn short-term and medium-term bearish is if Bitcoin breaks this level right here, basically our last prior higher low, which is, again, that 44,300. Yeah, 44,350 actually region. And would I be using this on a 2-hour? If you're going to use a 2-hour, I'd aim that a little bit lower towards 44,000 even. But as long as Bitcoin's closing above there, fine. If it does break it, I'd be looking for another 3,000 to 4,000 dollar move to the downside, somewhere around about a $40,000 to $41,000 breakout region. Now, with that in mind, I would be looking for a bounce there, but I'd want to come back in and reanalysize it after that. Anyways, let me just make sure that I'm recording, that the microphone's working. That's good. All right. I see in Discord, Pena is posting all sorts of photos of Z's again. Pena, what the fuck is going on here, man? Why is he making these pouty faces? It's like I'm just I'm genuinely just curious. It's rather interesting. Anyways, looking at momentum also just for the lower term timeframes here. What do we see? So we did see the hidden bullish divergence play out from yesterday, or I guess that was 2 days ago. That was 11th. Yeah, so 2 days ago here. That got us move back up to about $49,000. As it stands right now, we can see that 4 momentum oscillators are going to have a chance to cross back onto the upside on the next tick with any sort of a closure above 47,600. If that does happen, I mean, this does start to look pretty damn good for another liftoff. But as far as structure goes, I'd really want to see a closure above this last little level. That again is going to be about 48,150, we'll call it. If Bitcoin closes above there, you know, I'd be looking for that $51,500 target to get hit probably over the weekend, I guess. We do see that historical volatility percentile, by the way, is extremely low right now, suggesting that we could be seeing, I mean, you know what? Maybe we just fucking continue through here and fuck the open interest for right now. That's what it's looking like. 4-hour RSI, is this healthy or not? Healthy on the whole. On the short, I mean, we do see that this does have a very obvious trend line coming in right here. Maybe does come back down and test it a little bit again, but I'd be looking at that as an opportunity. Overall good. Overall fine. Overall good. I'm sure that people are talking about the 4-hour jewel cell signal. I do not take these signals at all whatsoever over the fucking weekend, and I would strongly suggest the same sort of thing too. They usually do not work out over the weekend. I will say that, except actually, funnily enough, for the very low term timeframes. But I didn't say that because I don't want to live and die by that statement. Over the weekdays, fine, but over the weekend, fuck it. 3-hour, what do we see right here? 48,300 is the magical number, as you can see. We do see that 3-hour RSI, same sort of downwards pressure here on the short term. So if I did have called, I do think that Bitcoin does probably test a little bit to the downside, whether it be a quick $1,000 move to $47,000, which almost doesn't even fucking register on a 3-hour, which is just insane. I mean, look, I know a lot of people in this channel have been tuning this content since like Bitcoin was at $3,000 in 2019. This is fucking crazy. That would have been a 30% move back in the day. Now it's, or more than a 30% move. Now that's not even a not even a fucking 5% move, not even a 1% move. Well, it is. Well, yeah, it's not even a 1% move. I mean, that's something, man. That's something. Or am I doing my mental math right or wrong? Who the fuck knows? Doesn't matter right now. That's what we have calculators for. You goddamn pencil pushing fucks. Anyways, let's see. Buy early, 46,890 is the magical number right here too. So we do see a bit of bifurcation in the lower term timeframes right now. Again, that's usually my signal to have no immediate buys in the short term timeframes, and probably seeing as Bitcoin did just test the top side resistance, probably does pop back down, test somewhere around 46 or maybe even 45.50. But I'd be looking at that again as an opportunity. Hourly, what do we see right here? Yeah, again, bifurcation looks like it. Well, not really, but we do have these trend lines going in right now as well, though I won't list it out. 47,330 is the magical number. So we do see a lot of things on other sides. HVP should be noted that it is very, very low on all lower term timeframes. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 hour, all in the teens or single digits, and that does suggest that we probably do see a move today. So if it does come to the upside, I mean, that will be a breakout. That will give enough oomph, if you will, and I'll be looking for about a $3,000 to $4,000 move towards 51.5 to 52,000 bucks, probably short-term pullback from there, and then game on rest of the weekend, or well, I guess coming into next week, really. On the contrary side, things over the weekend, if they look bullish, it typically turns out to test the downside. If things look bearish, it typically turns out to test the upside. Just a random observation here that I'm sure a lot of people have noticed as well. So if I did have to call it, if this was on a weekday, I'd be like, yeah, this is bullish. We're going to 52,000 bucks and go fuck yourself. But because it is a weekend, I do really entertain the possibility of Bitcoin coming back down somewhere between about 45.5 and 46,000 bucks and try to set in a higher low there. And again, below 44.3 on a 4-hour closure. I'd be looking for another, $4,000 move. So that would be about a 10% move. Quite nice. So that's where things actually do change for myself. Anyways, moving on to the medium term time frames. Here's what we're looking at right here. 12-hour just kind of trudging its way along. Momentum also just remaining the upside as long as above that 500-ish level, as you can see, or 600-ish level to be exact. 12-hour RSI, very fucking good here. Very, 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 very good. Consolidation within this region is incredibly healthy, and I mean, just long term, very constructive, going all the way back like a year and a half ago now. So this does make me very bullish here on the medium and higher term time frames. Obviously combined with everything else, of course, daily, basically the same thing as well, consolidating in the bullish control zone. Very, 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 very good reads, and momentum oscillators obviously say to the upside here as well, as long as Bitcoin's above 38,850 is the magical number, it looks like. So higher term time frames still very much bullish. Lower term time frames, yeah, they can have a bit of a downside here, and that's completely fine. Buy daily, do I see anything out of the ordinary? No, not really, or at least not anything that we haven't discussed from yesterday to today. And same thing on 3-day. I'm curious if CMEs have anything different to say about this whole thing. And yes, CMEs, putting essentially an ascending triangle at the top side of the formation right now. I look at this as very, very bullish right here, but CMEs don't trade over the weekend. So we could have, we can have a move down to like 46,000 bucks over the weekend. Not even going to register on CMEs until it opens up on Sunday. And then, by then it's probably been undone anyways. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves right now. Now I'm starting to get into crystal ball bullshit. So if we're going to get into some crystal ball bullshit, let's discuss something fun right now. So this is something that I used to show very often in 2019 and 2018. What I refer to as the matrix chart. So I am now shuddering at the fact that I'm going to have to explain this to a brand new audience. So how am I going to do this? Well, all right, pull your fucking pants down and get ready, boys and girls, of course, as well. Although it's not, this is all consensual, of course. But what I would say is, all right, we're gonna start off from the very fucking beginning, the genesis, going back to August 2010. I'm using the BLX chart. This is the longest running history for Bitcoin. All right, yeah, we're about 18 minutes into this. And what I want to show now is I want to show the relevancy of all the different market cycles compared to each other, and some very interesting data that suggests both a high for the next cycle, or a potential high for the next cycle, and more importantly, the low of the cycle after that, which I think is way more interesting than the potential high of this next cycle. Because, well, if you're thinking long term, which I think a lot of people here are, and I'm starting to move into that sort of sphere myself as well, as I sort of shift my own focuses in life. I think that that's actually really, really important. So we're going to go over it right now. So first and foremost, I'm going to put on my drawing tools. Ignore the Fibonacci extensions here for now. And what I want to focus on is the dotted trend lines. Okay, so each and every one of these dotted trend lines going all the way back to 2010 is a macro support trend line for that cycle, starting off right here, anchored in 2010, anchored in basically 2011, or beginning of 2011 as well. And that trend line becomes the highs of your next cycle later in 2011, and then more importantly in middle of 2011 right here. This was, by the way, when Bitcoin was trading at like $20, just so you know. Then of course Bitcoin goes into a bit of reversal and creates another support trend line for this next macro cycle, anchored in 2011 and this area right here, I think, which is 2012. Sorry, hold on. That is not correct. Yeah, anchored in 2011. Yes. Okay. Yes. Anchored in 2011. Sorry, I haven't done this in a while, but here we go. Anchored in 2011, and that becomes the highs of your next cycle in 2013 and 2014 right here. Getting this high and getting around this high. Not exactly perfect, but that's likely because I didn't do this perfectly. Let me just double check where this one's anchored towards. Okay, good. All right, excellent. And more importantly, that plays out once again. Then we create another support trend line for the next parabolic market cycle, which is anchored in, of course, 2014 and 2015, and that becomes your highs of your 2017 $20,000 high, last parabolic blow off top cycle in Bitcoin's history. And then Bitcoin sets in, or actually I took away the next one. Should I put it back on? All right, we'll put it back on. All right, well, we'll do this live then. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Where's my extended line? Okay, there we go. And we need, we're gonna need this area right here. Yes. And hey, that's not next. I want the dotted line. Hold on, that's not gonna look right. Hey, that's not gonna look right. Where's the damn dotted one? Motherfucker, man. All right, well, I think it is that, and it's just a different setting right there. All right, well, we'll do it this way then, I guess. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a trend line from this area right here, and sorry, this area right here. So that's going to be anchored in 2015 and hold on. This is not correct right now. Sorry, I haven't done this in a while, like I said. All right, so this is going to be somewhere. Wait a second. Is that? No, this is a part of the same one right here. Okay, no, this one's already done. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, there we go. Yeah, sorry, like I said, it's been a while, but this is not the most interesting part of this to begin with. Anyways, this trend line right here is still speaking towards the potential next macro high for Bitcoin. Could there be a less aggressive one? There could be. That's what I was actually just postulating right here. It looks something like this. And that would postulate, over time, it would naturally get higher, but over time, like within the next year or so, that could be getting up into the $200,000 region. So actually, I'm going to play around with this one later because that actually could make more sense. The other one's a little bit too crazy. I mean, that one goes up to like fucking, 3 million shit next year. So I think I'm going to hold off on that one. I'll play around with this one a little bit later. I suspect I have this anchored improperly, at least for now. Anyways, the more important thing that I want to focus on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this for right now. The more important thing that I want to focus on is that there's actually a very clear signature for where Bitcoin has been putting in its next macro low after playing out a parabolic blow off top segment. Let me explain. Okay, so we can start all the way back on over here. And every time Bitcoin has put in a weekly, both a weekly uptrend and then reversal, if we take a Fibonacci extension with the 4.236 in mind here, from the high to the low of that section, then we see that the 4.236 becomes the next low within the next cycle. So we'll start off with this one right here, 2010 to 2010. I mean, it's a rather short one when Bitcoin's literally below fucking 10 cents, and Bitcoin then gets a massive girthy move to the upside for, I mean, this is a 466% move right here. It doesn't look like much, but it is. And well, what do you know? When Bitcoin reverses, comes back down, where does it base off of? The 4.236. Rather interesting, right? Same thing right here. Close on new highs. Okay, new cycle initiated, and then has a nice little run right here, or little. Let's call that like a 220% move, not so little. And we have the same thing going on right here as well, by the way, where Bitcoin, let's see, let me get this right. Okay, there we go. Where if we take a Fibonacci extension from this level, the 4.236, where does that line up with? The next macro low, actually. Then what happens over here? And then what happens over here, we do see another parabolic blow off top, this one going from this section to right here. You might even say that's continuation, but I would argue not. And actually, I need to take another one for that one. So that's going to be, hold on, let me collapse this one in so that we don't get in the way. It's going to get a little bit confusing here, I think. All right, and then we want to do something like this. Boom. Okay, going closure, and then that gets your next cycle low at the 236 right here. Again, this is like $2.20, going all the way back to fucking November 2011. So we have a lot of work to do here. Then Bitcoin does the same thing over here, reverses for a while, about 3-4 months it looks like, and what do you know after that? Bitcoin puts in another blow off or just another segment of those parabolic blow off top rallies right here. And if we take another extension, what do you know? The 236 comes in where? At the next macro cycle low. Rather interesting, right? Again, we are in 2013 now for reference. Oh, and I've got to do one for this one right here, but we'll do this one for this next segment. And hey, show it to me, motherfucker. Something like this. This one actually does not work right here, but am I doing this improperly on this one? Well, that's because it's part of the next cycle is actually why. But we do something like this, and actually still does get around it to begin with. Anyways, I'm going to play around with that one a little bit later, as that is going to be superseded by this next one in 2014 to 2016 over here. Bitcoin reverses for about a year, puts in a bit of a bear market, down about 75 to 80%, and then what do you know? Breaks out on new all-time highs on a new weekly closure. And if we do take another Fibonacci extension from ultimate high to ultimate low of that past prior cycle, the 236 comes in where? $3,500. Where does Bitcoin bottom out in 2019? Low $3,000 region once again. So let's do the same thing for this cycle right here, where we do a Fibonacci extension with 236. Once again, I guess it's right there. It's already spoiling this goddamn surprise. But basically that is the focus. And if we were to do such things, then that would suggest $70,000 is actually going to be around your next major macro cycle low. Interesting, right? Higher than where Bitcoin is right now. Now, does that make sense within the context of this price action? Well, I would argue yes, as we've gone over here on our other chart, on our other long-term chart, where I've been showing that anytime that Bitcoin closed on new all-time highs on a weekly, after playing out a bit of a reversal, we do get some, pretty massive macro moves. I mean, this one right here, about 475%. This one right here closed on new highs and about, 215, 220%. Pretty fucking good. This one over here, about 25, 2600%. Very fucking good, you might say. This one closed on new highs right here and about 1250% on that one, just kind of estimating. This one over here closed on new highs, and what did we get? We get another 640% move to the upside. Then we get this one over here in 2017. This one's a fucking face melter as well, about almost 2,000% on that one, top to bottom. And then thus far, we have seen a rally of about 150% from next closing high to where Bitcoin is at right now. If you recall, that would actually be on the lower end of that spectrum, with 200 and some odd change percent being the lowest that we've seen previously. And even that's kind of an outlier because the other ones are usually between about 600 and 2,000%. So with that in mind, if we were to kind of play around with numbers here, bringing this down for a second, and we add, let's just say 200% onto Bitcoin price action right now, again, this would be on the lower end. Where that put Bitcoin at? 60,000, a little bit above 60,000 bucks. Well, that's rather interesting because that's around where the 236 is right here. So would it be relevant to think that historically speaking, Bitcoin could put in the next major macro cycle low even higher than what Bitcoin is right now? Again, speaking to the long-term investors right here, investors, right? But yes, I do think so. Now, could it take some time? Absolutely. In fact, I would be betting on it. It's going to take a lot of time. But my point is that, if you are thinking long term, that is something to maybe consider. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I do think that that's extremely interesting within this whole 11-year history now that we've been documenting, as that has been rather consistent. So something to think about. Certainly something to think about as time goes on. With, again, a potential major high for this next cycle. I think we said something around $200,000. So do I think that Bitcoin's going to go to at the $500,000 to $1 million targets in this next year? Like you see a lot of people barking about it around their webs. No, I think that they're saying that because they know that it gets views and it's very sexy. But it is very sexy. It is what it is. So fair enough. And let's actually just try this one more time. It should be something like this, if I recall properly. Yeah, there we go. And that's actually going to be coming in and hovering up and onwards as time goes on. And yeah, and even just a year from now, that does go into like the $200,000 region, which seems a lot more reasonable actually. And even just going out like into May of this year, May, which is, okay, we're February. I need to do the counting. February, March, April, May. That's 4 months from now. That would even raise the ceiling all the way up to basically $100,000. Now, that's not saying that Bitcoin's going to get to $100,000 during that time. What it's saying is that it has a potential high around that time, which, as you can see in the past, has been working rather well. So, those two things combined together, I would say that, suggesting a range of, in the next year between about, I don't know, $200,000 and $70,000 to the downside is very much relevant if you are a long-term trader or a long-term investor, or if you're playing long-term options as well, which actually has never been my game. I've always been like weeklies and in regulars, like that's it. But hey, looking at this right here, this is I do think that this is rather titillating information, and does play into the greater narrative that this market is fucking good, I guess. Anyways. Okay, what else do we want to look at while we're here? We're already 30 minutes into this bitch, and I did say that I want to make this video a little bit shorter. Maybe we do a quick look at Mr. Buteral, or actually let's see how traditional markets close out the week. What do you know? New all-time highs. I'm bullish coming in next week. Still looking at, I guess we did hit our target right here at the 2618. 15,000 probably over the next few months. I know it sounds crazy. SPY futures, same thing. Closing on new all-time highs. We hit our target at 2.618. People said it couldn't be done, but it's happening, I guess. 4,000 plus what I'd be looking for on this next leg, 4,100-ish region. But again, that's going to take some time. So traditional market's still bullish. That makes me remain bullish on Bitcoin as well. I mean, these markets all move together, and that's no real secret, except for cryptocurrency. I don't even know what the fuck you call them anymore, like gang members who are like, traditional market's bad, Bitcoin good, or altcoin good, or whatever the fuck good. It's like, actually, they all seem to trade in the exact same motion, or maybe not exact same motion, but very similar motions. So maybe get out of your goddamn gang and think for yourself for once in your life. Sorry, just kidding, but seriously, it's kind of sad. Anyways, let's see, Ethereum right here. We already looked at the weekly. I mean, wow, crazy, looks good. It's fucking bullish. 4 hours actually more immediately bullish, although I wouldn't be surprised if it does have a short-term move down to like 1790 or 1800 even, but ultimately this one it's just stair-step its way out. This is, I'm trying to come up with the bearish things right now, but it's not working. 18, I could see a short-term move down to like 1800, but this is a really fucking powerful read right here. Ethereum probably just lifts this market up to the heavens, right? Over this next week or so, 2,000 plus, where I'd be looking towards, like I said, about 22 to 23 or 24, I think it was. Would be the next targeted region. So Ethereum certainly leading right now, and as long as Ethereum kind of keeps it up, I'd imagine Bitcoin just kind of follows, and we get those nice rotational markets. Link going to the fucking moon as well, $30, nicely done. Yep, this one's gonna make new all-time highs on top of that. I mean, there's nothing bearish about this at all whatsoever. And I believe that we had a target here too. Yes, we did have a target here now, didn't we? Let's zoom in on this. That was a 414 in the 272 in betwixt those. So yes, I would say that that's pretty much been hit, and we're getting that first sort of sell off. Actually, that one directly hit the 414. Nice one. This one's very unlikely to stop. Link is very fucking bullish right now. Very fucking bullish. I really don't like using these more direct terms, but seeing as we're already 32 minutes into this bitch, and goddamn, I shudder at the fucking potential messages I'm gonna get about this shit. Hey man, what do you think about Link? I don't know. It's fucking bullish. Please stop messaging me about fucking altcoins. I'm sorry. I probably sound like an arrogant asshole. It's just you're trying to feed a dog a cat bone, I think, or the other way around. Anyways, should we take a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance, see if that one's going to crater any further? Bitcoin dominance. Bearish. Yeah. And I believe that we said that was likely this last week, probably moved back down to the 200 simple here, which is below 60% actually. I believe earlier this past week we did say that 60% was kind of like a nice basing target. Getting pretty close now, but I still think a little bit lower here. And then that could be your next major pivot. But goddamn, man, that is something right there. That is really something. Jesus Christ. Alrighty. Okay. I think it's time to wrap this pitch up. See what caretakers say about the ranges really quickly. Yeah, about 49,000 to the upside versus 46,200 to the downside. But this is a weekend. Yeah, getting the short-term range here. What does a 4-hour say? Just out of curiosity. Is it showing? Oh no, it's getting like the whole range. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, good. All right. Well, it's giving a lot of leeway here for a weekend move actually. Caretaker's bullish right now actually. Yeah. Oh yes it is. Oh yes it is. Okay, sweet one. All right. Well, let's wrap this bitch up. How about that? Let's wrap this bitch up. Or do we need to wrap this bitch up? I think everything was more or less the same. Range on the lower term time frames, 48,100 to the upside versus 44.3 to the downside on a 4-hour closure. Do things look more or less bullish here? Yes. Is it a weekend? Yes. Does that mean that fuckery could sometimes be abound? Absolutely yes as well. So Bitcoin did have a nice move down to about 45.5 or 46,000 bucks. That'd be completely fine. I mean, we actually kind of did just get that move yesterday. It looks like, yeah, actually we did. 46,200. Maybe that's your next higher low. Anyways, my general point is that the more important things that happen on Friday's closure for CME, which very likely does bleed into spot price action for Bitcoin, would be that the weekly close above the topside Toronto band, which does sit in my bias for new all-time highs coming into next week. Very likely Bitcoin starts making its way towards 60,000, give or take a few bucks, and that's really all that I have to say about that. I mean, I really want to shutter away from using the lower term timeframes here, but yes, if Bitcoin were to, let's say, close a 4-hour dildo below 44.3 or a 2-hour dildo below 44,000 even, I would be looking for another $3,000 to $4,000 move to about 40,000 bucks. So that is a 10% move at these levels here, which is very much tradable. Plus the actual move itself on top of that, which is another 2,000 bucks. So actually very, very nice there. But generally speaking, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. Weekends, I really don't like to make, I just don't make trades really. But coming in next week, yes, I'm looking for new all-time highs. 51,500 would be the next sort of short-term, medium-term target. But on top of that, I highly doubt that things do stop there. The 618 to the 3 spot extensions where I'm looking towards in this next move, as those are the more historically relevant ones, at least in my experience for cryptocurrency land. So with that said, I do want to wish you the well. I do want to wish you the best. Take care. And until next time.